Look, the biggest podcast where you can learn them lessons. Line for line where you can learn from different sections. Made it out the mud, come tell your story, blessings. Never know who listening, never know who stressing. Devon gave you a voice, come speak your honest truth. Line for line, go bar for bar, it's up to you. Wanna talk sports, gov, and politics? Wanna talk about where you from and your accomplishments? The Line for Line is really where you need to be. A platform that's really made for folks like you and me. You can find it all no matter what you seek. Whether you calling or you listening, tune in every week.
All right, just like that, we're back at another episode of the Bears Report. I'm your host with the most, Devon Booker. We have a famous, very special guest in the building today. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the world, young man.
Lester Wiltfong, Editor-in-Chief, Windy City Gridiron.
Man, just tell us a little bit about how you're feeling today, young man.
Feeling good, man. I'm a little tired, but you know it's all good. It's a holiday weekend. I actually have vacation coming up next week. I'll be in Florida.
Oh wow!
So I'm off the real job now until next Monday.
Yes, sir.
Of course, the side hustle. I'm always doing something with the Bears, so that never goes away.
Yeah. Now, with today being the Bears Report, young man, there's been a little bit of noise. We tried to record a week or two ago. It didn't work out the way. So I feel like we have a little bit of catching up to do.
Man. That was a lot of fun, I got to tell you.
I always tell people I'm just happy with the experience, you know, because what did I kept saying? I was saying, I still see this as a win. Yeah, I still see this as a win. We were able to talk, able to test stuff out, because obviously that's how you have to get good at stuff. You have to test it out, see what works and see what doesn't work, you know, and it made a little bit of content for me as well, too, so I'm fine with that as well, too. But let's start with this Bears free agent tracker. Free agency. Yeah. We do know that they brought a couple of Colts over, starting with a linebacker. What do you think about that move there?
Matt Adams, he's a special teamer guy. He was the last, I think he might have been the last official signing they made. He had a few starts, I think 3 and 4 years ago. No starts the last couple of years, been mostly a special teams guy. But he's a guy that Matt Eberflus wants to bring in. He's a culture fit. Mm-hmm. You know, this Bears team, a lot of holes in the roster.
Come on,
you know, it is, but you know they gotta bring in some of their guys. You know, their guys. You know, so Matt Eberflus will bring some of his guys from the Colts. You know, they're bringing a couple Packers over that know the offense over there. So they want to get things that understand the Bear way, the new Bear way, and kind of wash the Ryan Pace era off the whole franchise. And you know, it's a good pickup. I mean, he's not going to be a starter for the Bears probably. If he's starting, that's not good news. But the fact that he knows how to play all 3 linebacker spots, he's a core special teamer. I think he was a Pro Football Focus special team All-Pro last season.
Okay.
I think he's been a special teams captain for the Colts. So he's coming in with the good attitude, good energy, and he's good for the team.
Yes, sir. Now, with it being said, we do know that they picked up a free agent corner as well, too. What did you think about that from the Baltimore Ravens?
You know, it's funny because I didn't really think of him as an option like during the whole period. And then all of a sudden they signed him. I'm like, oh, I forgot about him. Because like 3 or 4 years ago, he was like the highest paid nickel cornerback in the game. You know, he had a huge money deal with the Ravens, one of the best nickel corners in the game. But he's had some injuries. He's, I think, missed 2 full seasons. He's had some knee injuries. I think he had a neck injury last year or 2 years ago. He did play all 70 games last year for the Ravens, you know, so maybe there's some upside there. It was a fairly reasonable contract, so it's a good signing for the Bears. It gives them some depth and a better option at nickel instead of Duke Shelley and Kendall Vilder.
Your people.
Your guys.
So from what it sounds like to me, it sounds like you're trying to say the pieces that they did add on defense aren't going to come in and make a difference.
The only difference maker they got on defense, the linebacker, Nick Morrow, we talked about, like he was one of their first signings. Good athletic, fast, can play any spot. Again, he probably played the mic, so Roquan stays at the will. And then Al-Qadim Muhammad, defensive end, a Colt guy coming over. They'll make a difference, but still, there's some work to do. You know, there's still they did sign Dane Cruikshank, safety, but he's another guy, a more special teamer. He had a few starts last season, but he's not a guy that I think they're expecting to be a starter next to Eddie Jackson. So there's some work to do in the secondary still.
Nice. Now let's move over to the offensive side of the ball. There's a couple pieces that they add, whether it was Equanimous
St. Brown.
I'm like, see, I was close. I'm just happy that I was close to saying it right.
Close.
Because that name is just so hard to say. But they got him. They got a tight end as well, too.
Yeah, tight end. He's more of a blocking guy. You know, his name actually escapes me because they actually worked out another guy. Tight end Ryan Griffin, more of a inline blocking type guy. solid. He's a good addition, and he's not going to supplant Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet's going to be their starting Y. Cole Kmet's a little more athletic. They may still try and move him around the offense a little bit. That's kind of how they work the the Kyle Shanahan-esque scheme. He may move a little bit, but with Griffin, more inline blocker, gives them options now if you want to do a double tight end set, more run heavy stuff. It's a good pickup for them.
Speaking of tight end, what's the news on Jimmy Graham? Have you heard any news?
Still nothing, not yet.
So he's technically still on the roster then?
Nah, free agent.
Oh, he's a free agent.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
And
his contract expired. He is actually the last I saw, I think he was hanging out with Aaron Rodgers.
you're lying.
I saw something on Twitter. He played in Green Bay for a couple years, so I'm sure they're friends. They were at an event, so
You don't see us bringing him back?
Nah. From a human standpoint, Jimmy Graham is awesome. He does so much stuff with charity, a lot of stuff with does for the community. His best days are way behind him. Time to go. Moving on. This is Cole Kmet's tight end show now.
Cole, I have nothing against Cole Kmet. I actually like him.
Have you seen the picture of him?
How big he looks?
Oh my God, that's Swole Kmet, man.
What is that? Did you say Swole Kmet?
Swole Kmet.
Oh,
come on, that's it.
But what is that really gonna do though? If you still not implementing him in the offense, hopefully this Luke Getsy offense, they scheme him open and they get him the ball. Do you see that happening? A surgence of Cole Kmet?
Well, you look at Robert Tonyan with the Packers the last couple of years. He got hurt last year, so you got to go back a couple of years, but. Undrafted free agent. He doesn't have the same pedigree as Cole Kmet, but a lot of people say Cole Kmet should have been drafted where he was anyway. So, but that's besides the point. They use the tight end in this scheme. So Cole Kmet's going to get his catches. I think he had 62 catches last season in Matt Nagy's offense.
With a couple of drops.
He has to work on his hands a little bit. He has some of the dropsies. He has to work on getting separation. But again, what we've talked about before, the scheme wasn't the best suited for what they wanted to do. I think Cole Kmet's a guy you leak out on play action. You get him down the seam once in a while. You try and surprise the defense with him. But, if he's bulked up, he's strong. He was always a real physical player when he had the ball in his hands. So if he has more to that now, I'm not saying he's going to be like, Gronkowski-like, with what he's doing out there. But he's added some strength, added some muscle. He's going to do something nice for the Bears this year.
Never mention Gronkowski with any Bears tight end ever again.
Never.
Because when they did that with your guy, Sham Shaheen,
always my guy.
Adam Shaheen, whatever his name was, it did not work out how they planned it to. The guy just never panned out. Like people say he was boo-boo. Seriously.
Baby Gronk. That was a terrible nickname at the time. I never understood it because they just, when you're that big and you're playing in Division III, of course you're going to look good. It was always going to be a work in progress, always going to have some upside there, in which he's still in the league. So, I guess you could say he's having a nice, successful career.
He's still on the Dolphins?
I think he's still on the Dolphins. But he was
a big time guy. I remember that playoff game where Trey Burton was out. It was maybe 4th and 4, and he caught the ball. Yeah, I was like, terrible. Dude, come on, by a little
6'6", 260. You don't let a guy tackle you like that.
I was like, come on,
pissed off
dude.
So many Bears fans.
Yeah, and I was like, at that moment, I knew
you were out.
And what's crazy is I praise a lot of the Bears guys. I'm like, no, give him a chance. But there's certain people you just can't give a chance. Like your guy Shelley, I won't give him a chance, or Vildor won't give him a chance because they just got work.
They're on the roster. They're going to be around. They're going to be competing. With defensive backs, sometimes they're late bloomers. And then you look at both those guys. They didn't have the greatest competition in college. So maybe they were given too many reps too soon. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is the year they break out and they give you a little something. But the Bears have done a good job with addressing some positions. But still, they got some more work to do at corner.
Whatever happened with Stefan Denmark? I remember they were supposed to do something with him. I think they even tried to convert him to receiver too.
Nah, he wasn't receiver. The receiver part was in college. He was a receiver in college, converted to corner, 6'4", like 4.4 speed, big dude. Just couldn't catch on. I think he may be out of the league now.
Come on, why you gotta do him like that, man?
Well, I think he was on the Pittsburgh Steelers practice squad for a minute.
Oh, really?
But the last I checked, because I always kind of keep an eye on where these guys go, just to kind of see. Mm-hmm. He was a 7th round draft pick, so you weren't expecting much out of him anyway. But as fans, we all love the upside. 6'4", fast, big, strong. A project. He played corner. if it would have worked out, it would have been great. They tried moving him at safety a little bit, just never caught on. And now I think he's out of the league. we'll have to check on that.
Now let's bring it back to your guy Ryan Poles. I would definitely say he's like the stepping stone of what you've said. Let the market come to you.
He is.
Because obviously he's been letting the market come to him. He's been keeping his moves private as well, too. What do you think he'll do at the end of the month when it comes to day 2 of the draft?
He's got to be receiver, got to be
second round?
Second round receiver, lineman. I mean, those are the 2 need positions. You got to address some stuff on offense. He's not done adding to the roster for free agency, but Ryan Poles getting ripped a lot in the media. There's a few guys that have come out and they really are critical of what he's put around Justin Fields, but this was the roster he inherited. $47 million in dead cap space. Right now they only have, I think, between 13 and 14 million in available cap space. What are you going to do with that kind of money? There's not much you can do. Maybe J.C. Treader, the Browns center, is still out there. But he may be looking for more money. There's just not a lot of money you can spend when you got to realize you still got to pay the draft picks. You got to save some money for some cuts. Some teams may have. You got to save money for in-season moves. So if there are more signings, it's going to be more closer to the vet minimum stuff, maybe $2-3 million a year. But there's just not a lot of moves to be made. Right now it's looking like the rookies, the undrafted free agents, and then they may catch a couple guys that are looking for work late that are just haven't been able to catch on. That may want to get a gig with the Bears.
Yes, sir. Now with Sammy Watkins going to the Packers kind of late during free agency. What does that do for the Bears in their search for a receiver when it comes to free agency as well? I mean, because there's still a couple names out there.
There's a couple. I just don't see the Bears doing anything. I think they're content with the room they have now. As weird as it sounds, it's Mooney, it's Pringle, it's St. Brown. There's just not a lot there. But I think they're content, and they feel that they're going to add a rookie, and the rookie's going to be a 2 or a 3 or a 4, which will be in the rotation. And I think they may be a little higher on St. Brown than a lot of fans are. He did only get vet minimum money, but this is still a fairly young guy. He's 6'4", 6'5", again, 4.3 speed, 4.4 speed. He's a speedster. Maybe they feel they can unlock something in him. I'll have to see it to believe it, but it's possible. It's possible that they're content enough to just kind of see what happens. Again, like you said, let the market come to them.
So you're sold on their first pick is going to be receiver?
Receiver or O-line.
Not corner?
It's funny because I've been doing a lot of the mocks, right, and looking at the simulations, and there's a lot of defensive depth available at that spot. So it would not surprise me if they got a corner. It would not surprise me if it was D-line. But I just think if you balance the need with the best player available. And of course, you don't want to draft for need, but if you got a corner and a receiver that are similarly rated, I think you go with the receiver.
Yeah, and that's what they're saying. That Poles said is on record saying he's not done adding to the Justin Fields offense.
There's more coming. I mean, he had a tight end that he kind of looked at. He worked out, I think, 2-3 days ago. So they're looking, but they're going to make no huge splashes. So there's not really no big splashes to make. But, they're going to add another tight end because they want to have a U tight end, which is the guy that moves around the offense a lot. Right now, it's just Jesper Horsted. And, again, as fans, we love Jesper Horsted. It's a great story. Undrafted free agent. I think it was Princeton, a converted wideout. He's playing tight end now. So they want to see him succeed. And he's had a connection with Fields in the preseason. So it'd be nice if he could do that. But you can't count on him, making that step.
What have you seen from Justin Fields so far this offseason that you're like, okay, this guy is ready to move forward and continue to grow?
Yeah, he's put in the work. I mean, he was doing a lot of stuff. Him, Mooney, Komet. I mean, they had some workout stuff. They had some videos posted on his Instagram. His motion looks a little crisper. Like I said, I'm no quarterback guru, but people I know I've talked to, they said his motion looks a little different, which is something he had to speed up a little bit. He had a little bit of a hitch in it, so that looks good. Again, he's putting the work in. Matt Eberflus was recently on the Chris Collinsworth show talking about how this is Justin Fields' offense. It's built for him. It's built around him. He loves what he sees so far. I mean, right now they're in the early part of practice. They're not on the field yet. It's working out. It's conditioning. it's some throwing, but you can't have the coach out there with you. But it's also film room, and he said Fields is really doing a good job so far.
Now, if you had to put a label on it, what tier would you say Justin Fields is on pace to be in? Is it like tier 1, tier 2?
It's still too early to tell. I mean, I see the potential of him being a really good NFL quarterback.
Give me just like a level of really good, though.
Right now, he's in the low tier.
So give me a name or two that's out there that's in that tier.
I mean, who are
Baker Mayfield?
Who are some of the worst quarterbacks in the game today?
Ooh.
I mean, honestly, after his rookie year, you can't look at that and say, oh, yeah, he's definitely the guy. He's got some work to do. The upside's there. Most rookies struggle, and
especially coming into that situation that he got into.
The first game in the Browns, 9 sacks, just a horrible game plan. Matt Nagy, it's like Matt Nagy didn't understand how to game plan for different quarterbacks. Like it was the same Andy Dalton game plan. And then they tried to mix it up a little bit, and they went too far. It's like you got to find a good balance. That's why it's like we said, it was time for him to go. I do see the upside there. I think if everything goes right this season, he'll make some strides as a pro. He may get into that middle tier of quarterbacks, and then with all the cap money they have next season, all the draft picks they'll have back next season, then you'll see them really make a big effort to kind of really bolster things around Justin Fields.
Okay, so I'm going to need 3 names from you. I'm going to need 3 names. I'm going to need a comparison to the tier 1, to the tier 2, and the tier 3 that he can be.
He can be? I mean, it's hard to say. I mean...
Okay, this is a top, middle, and bottom that he can be. Give me 3 names of a top quarterback. You say, okay, I can see him being on that level. Then a middle one, you be like, okay.
There are a lot of comparisons to Russell Wilson. Their body shapes are a little different as far as, the size. But Justin Fields has the same kind of, chuck it deep mentality that the guy like with Wilson with Seattle. Mm-hmm. I think if he can turn into that at some point, that'd be great for him. He takes a lot of sacks like Wilson does because he's waiting to let a play develop. That's something that, depending on the coaching scheme, you may want to, scheme some of that out of him. But again, you don't want to take all his aggressiveness because that's when big plays happen. The NFL is all about the explosive play. You want Fields to go deep when he can. But I think with this offense, it'll be there for him with the play action. He's already shown that he's one of the better deep passers as a rookie. That's one of the pluses he has. He's a very good deep passer. His accuracy is on point. His numbers are good there. Keep that up, build off that with the play action. I think that, Russell Wilson, if everything works out perfectly, that's your nice comp right there.
Okay, how about the middle now?
Who's in the middle?
He's just so.
Kirk Cousins, is he a middle guy?
I would say so.
He gets paid a lot of money, like he's elite, but he's just, he doesn't win the big one. If that's who he ends up with as Bears fans, a Kirk Cousins kind of career, as funny as it sounds, that's probably the best quarterback of Bears history if that's what he ends up like Kirk Cousins, because hasn't been very good.
And then for the bottom, would you say like a Daniel Jones, or would you say he's already shown you enough that he can be better than a Daniel Jones?
No, Daniel Jones is a good comp. Like Daniel Jones, again, this is going into his 3rd year. Mm-hmm. The jury's out on Jones. He's had some injuries, but again, the fumbles are there with Daniel Jones. Too many turnovers, and after 1 year with Fields, too many turnovers. So, if he's a bust, and I don't think he's a bust, he may have a Daniel Jones type career.
Yes, sir. Now, as we get ready to wrap up an amazing episode, is there anything that you would like to add for those Bear fans to just stay patient with what Poles has going on or anything like that?
Exactly. It's patience. Like I said, Bears Twitter right now is all over these. There, I think it was Sports Illustrated, and there might have been a Pro Football Network or one of the other ones up there. They're just ripping on the whole process. And like I said, what are you expecting? This is what he was left. Ryan Pace pushed so much money into the future. He has to build this the right way. If you just put a bunch of money, like if he would have took all his cash and put it all this season, maybe they got 1 or 2 more wins. Maybe it helps a little bit. Then now what happened next year? You know what I mean? It's like you got to build this the right way, and I feel Ryan Poles is going about this whole thing the right way right now.
And especially with him getting ready to go get Odell Beckham Jr., right?
He's a free agent.
I know.
I would like that move.
He's for real?
He's a quality player. You got to look at, but then you're looking at the where is it in the future? Okay, he's not going to play much this year because of the injury. Mm-hmm. So if you feel that it's going to be a 3-year commitment, if you feel he has 3 years left in the tank, maybe you do it as the Bears because Justin Fields, you want to maximize what he has. So again, you look at the money. How much will the money be at this point for a guy like him coming off his second, knee injury?
So it was a serious injury from the Super Bowl then?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because they're saying that the injury, I saw it on Twitter, that his first surgery, there was some complications.
No way.
So they're saying the second surgery now cleaned up some of the problems from the first surgery that he had. I guess there's something, one of the pro football doctors on Twitter, you know how they're always on there doing their thing, said that, they weren't surprised that he tore it again because of the way the surgery went last time.
No way.
But again, it could not be the surgery. Maybe it's not the surgery. Maybe it was the rehab. Again, like Tariq Cohen, maybe it was a setback at some point that he just fought through, But I mean, he's a talented player. He's produced wherever he's gone, except for his problems with the Browns and Baker Mayfield. But I think as a true alpha number one, he'd be a nice guy to pick up if the money's right and if they can figure out how to make it work. But I don't think it happens.
No, Jarvis Landry.
Isn't he gone? Didn't he get picked up by someone?
He did?
I think so. I think he got traded or something.
Where to?
I'm not sure. I have to check on it.
You're teaching me something new. I didn't know that.
I mean, a lot of the land. Oh, maybe Landry didn't get. Devontae Parker got picked up.
Yeah,
I'm mixing up my fringe slot X guys. So yeah, it's I was thinking a guy like that would make a lot of sense because it's another body. But like I said, I think Ryan Poles is content. I think he thinks Darnell Mooney can be either a 1 or 1A, at the worst a 2. I think he likes Pringle. He trusts what Pringle brings to the table. And then we'll see where they go from there.
That being said, young man, we just wrapped up an amazing episode of the Bears Report.
You calling or you listening, tune in every week. Line for line. Oh yeah, I'm going line for line.